So I got thinking about this when I was on the phone with the one Mama Savage. And my mother loves sports talk radio, and she loves just talk radio. So she's telling me, there's lots of folks that are saying that Jerry Jones would go after Lincoln if he's able to do something with Jalen Hurts this year. And I'll get into what Jalen Hurts might be capable of in the next segment. But I was going, Mom, Jerry Jones and Lincoln Riley probably ain't even thinking about each other right now because August, and they both are in positions to win the title. Like Dallas is in a win-or-go-home situation right now, which is why the Zeke Elliott thing is so fascinating. And Lincoln is ranked 4th in the preseason poll with a dude that's a heavy favorite to win the Heisman Trophy and has one of the best wide receivers in college football playing with him right now, as he has a new defensive coordinator that everybody expects to turn something into, turn the sugar into that other stuff, or turn that stuff into sugar, to use that phrase that I can't say on terrestrial radio. But I was thinking about this is going, why do folks keep thinking of college football coaches as minor league baseball players? And it's because we look at college football as a minor league for the NFL, because every year, 2% of all college football players get drafted into the NFL. There's something like just over 11,000 college football players playing every year. And we got 7 rounds, 32 players. It's about 214, Spence? Do that quick math right for me, because I'm an English major. 7 times 32. But while he's doing that, I looked up coaching salaries because I think that that's how we keep score in this thing. Go ahead. I can't hear you. Spence, I can't hear you. Oh, he's thinking.
224.
Okay, 224 draft picks. All right, cool. So 224 out of those 11,000 every year get drafted. But I was thinking about this in terms of money, because we're going, of course college coaches might want to take an NFL job because it pays more. But does it? Does it really? So I did, some of that research, some of that stuff that we're supposed to do that, is the job. Found out the top 5 NFL head coaching salaries for 2019, top 5 college football head coaching salaries for 2018. Now, it's not really what you might think. As a matter of fact, yeah, it's top heavy in the NFL, but it levels off real quick, and you're about to see what I'm saying. So the top 5 NFL head coaching salaries in 2019, Bill Belichick at number 1, $12.5 million. Pete Carroll at $11 million. Third is Jon Gruden at $10 million. Spencer better be prepared for him to give that money back. Sean Payton at $9 million. And Andy Reid at $7.5 million. Then you go to the top 5 college football head coaching salaries according to USA Today database from 2018. Nick Saban at $8.3 million. Urban Meyer, remember that he did get paid to coach last year, $7.6 million. Jim Harbaugh at $7.5 million. Jimbo at $7.5 million. And Gus Malzahn at $6.7 million. Then you find out that the $5 million a year that Mike Gundy makes is the same amount of money that Titans head coach Matt LaFleur makes. Bill O'Brien makes with the Texans, and Mike Zimmer makes with the Vikings. So check this out. With his new contract, Lincoln Riley will barely make more on average annually than Jason Garrett, who coaches the most valuable sports franchise this side of Thanos' snapped fingers, okay? He makes just $6 million this year. Jason Garrett does, to coach the Dallas friggin' Cowboys. Spence and I were talking about this like 2 weeks ago, maybe even last week. Time just flies. Because I was going, isn't Manchester United or Real Madrid more valuable than the Cowboys? He's going, no, not the Cowboys. The Cowboys' valuation is stupid, and yet you're paying Jason Garrett $6 million. Now, I know that Cowboys fans, myself included, are like, what are we paying Jason Garrett for at all? For what? Just let Kellen Moore run the offense, let Chris Richard run the defense, and you get rid of Jason and Rod Marinelli and be fine. It'd be okay. I mean, last year they fired their offensive line coach in the middle of the season, and it was fine. It's okay. So knowing all of that, why would Lincoln Riley or Dabo Swinney or Nick Saban or Gus Malzahn or Jimbo Fisher want to take a job in the NFL? You rule this thing. There is no owner. You are the owner. It all runs through you. The president and the athletic director, yeah, okay, technically they can fire you, but they ain't going to fire you if you do two of three things, right? I have this conversation with people all the time. Neil Gaiman gave this advice, and I stick to it. How do you get jobs? You work hard, you show up on time, people like you. and you only need 2 of the 3. If you work hard and you show up on time, you keep the job. If people like you and you're good at your job, but you don't show up on time, you keep your job. If you show up on time and you're good at your job, that's usually the way that we want to do this because we can't guarantee that people will like us. But if you're a college football coach, there's even more ways to keep your job. The first one is just 1 of the 3, win. Because that'll also get you fired if you don't win. The other one is, can you raise money? Can you walk into a donor's house and come out with a check? Because as we continue to have these conversations around coaches and their salaries, the ones that are doing more than coaching and staying in their jobs, even as they don't necessarily win all the time, are the people I want to pay the most attention to. We'll make a big stink of Sherry Cole making more than $1 million to coach women's basketball and then go, you know who shows up to every single friggin' caravan that OU throws? Sherry Cole. You know who people enjoy listening to speak? Sherry Cole. Lon Kruger shows up to everything. One of the most personable human beings on the face of the earth. Shout out to him. He just picked up Trey Phipps as a commitment yesterday. Dude that was committed to TU, coming out of Booker T, now going to OU. But the dude is just a genuinely nice guy. And he's been a head coach for 30 plus years. Like, Lon Kruger was doing this back when UTSA was named something entirely different. Sherry Cole has been the women's basketball coach at OU. Name the last one. That's how long she's had this job. And it ain't because she's just out there winning games. If you can do these things well, you keep your job. Whereas in the NFL, there is no other way to help you keep your job. As much as we talk about Lincoln Riley being good at this thing of coaching football, of recruiting, of doing the job of a head football coach, you know what else he's good at? Being on TV. Talking on the radio. Answering questions thoughtfully. I keep trying to tell people Lincoln Riley could be an offensive coordinator anywhere. And you know what? He could be a head coach almost anywhere. But the reason that he got the job at Oklahoma at the age that he got the job at Oklahoma is because Bob Stoops recognized in this guy all the traits. All of them. It's not just that he knows the X's and O's. It's not just that he can recruit. It's not just that he's personable with everyday people and in front of a camera. It's because he's got all 3 working for him. And because he has all 3 working for him, he can do whatever he wants to do. And they're going to pay him as much as he feels he needs to be paid to stay at Oklahoma as long as he remains that guy. The dude went from making just over $1 million when he got here to we're going to look around and he's making $6 million just 3 years later. You know, I mean, for a guy that's had a job for all of barely 5 years, come on, man. He's been a head coach for two years, right? We're not going to give him credit for the third one. He hadn't coached that one yet. But you can't argue with the results, and you can't argue with him living his best life. Now, I also understand that people are like, you know what you don't have to do in the NFL? Recruit. Yeah, okay. But if you're not recruiting, you're not very good. I contend that recruiting is not just a thing that we do in football or basketball or college. It's a thing we do in all walks of life. If you're not recruiting your wife, prepare to be divorced. Period. If you're not the kind of dude that buys flowers and takes her out, remembers the little things, what color her eyes are, what size her shoes, can notice when she needs stockings or when she just needs a break, where you do that thing that she likes, where you just take the kids and leave, you are preparing to be divorced. And I think the same thing is true in every profession. You cultivate the relationship, and you never stop tilling. You never, ever stop tilling. Always, always, always be cultivating that relationship.